Hello, good morning, Jule. Welcome to Truth for the Sake of Truth. So happy to have this conversation with you.
I'm always happy to see you, and you are the best. You're wonderful.
Right, so you know what? For last time we spoke about one of the breaks, and I'm just going to keep taking different breaks. So today I want to talk about perfection. I'll start with me, and I know it's true for a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know, is that there is a need for everything to be perfect and everything to be in order or has to happen in this quality or in this time period. And all of these thought processes create a lot of stress and anxiety within me. I have identified it, yes. However, I'm just trying to understand that is there anything perfect or do we need to strive for perfection?
Okay, everything is perfect. Let's look at it from the perspective of what the infallible way is. Infallible is perfect, right? So if
Yeah.
there's an experience that we need in order to identify it and transform that energy, doesn't that make it perfect because now it's present so that we can deal with it?
Yes.
That's
That
the
is
first,
the infallible
that is
way.
actually the first steps that we need to take because many people look to the externals in order to gain their insight of wonderful or, oh,
Hmm.
it makes me so happy or it is so perfect. And that
Hmm.
is a term. How often do you hear that? Probably in a day.
Yeah.
Dozens? Okay.
Dozens. Yeah.
Well, perfection is really what we are. It's any experience. So it's the term of art. When you were just speaking about having anxiety or anxious to make something greater
Hmm.
than it is, well, that's because the mind is so in control. It doesn't want to feel victimized, so it will manipulate the outer effects. All of the experiences, then they say, okay, it's perfect that way. Well, you know what? The true level of perfection is when we realize the I am.
So this is what I'm trying to understand. If I have not realized I am, does that mean I am imperfect?
I think that everything is perfect unless your mind is stuck on a term, because
Hmm.
every single thing that occurs to us is perfection in that you're able to gain from whatever you're creating whatever is needed so that you could identify it and transform the
Hmm.
purpose of what is being caused. So, from my perspective, there's really one perfection, and that is the I am. That is the truth for the sake of truth. I am the whole. That to me is aligned with perfection. However, when every single person is walking through their experiences, how could they not say that it's a perfect experience? Because what it's
Hmm.
doing, it's helping them to see what it is that they need so they can transform that
Yeah.
energy to pure love. Every time we transform, Siley, what is it that we do? We're starting to shift the consciousness.
Consciousness. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
doesn't that make
the
it
whole
perfect?
process of having these experiences and then transforming our consciousness is the perfection of this existence.
Exactly.
That's the infallible way that you keep
That's the
talking about.
infallible way. And see, when you look at it from that perspective, the infallible way is the God, the universe working through us, as us, beyond us, so that we can identify what holds us in bondage.
So if
And
I
that to
feel
me,
that, so if I feel I'm less than perfect in any criteria, whether how I look or how I do certain tasks, then that's actually the break, which
yes,
is which
yes.
is mm, kind of keeping me from feeling perfect. Is
Well,
that
yeah.
the
And what do you? when you're making an assertion to yourself, I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I feel like I'm less than, or I feel like I'm in bondage, whatever it is, that's only helping you to identify that there's a break caused by the mind. And anytime you look at things and you're looking for perfection, but really what is perfection? It's not from the outside in, it's from the inside out.
Hmm. I think
Right?
that's something extremely important which we keep forgetting. Even a while ago, we were discussing how we are always looking to make everything perfect outside of us, including
Right.
our bodies, because that's kind of our external image. And actually, it is inside out, not outside in.
Right. So when you have a situation that comes to you and you're feeling affected by it, most individuals would never say that's perfect. But you know what?
Hmm.
From my perspective, it is perfect. Because what's
Hmm.
happening is you have created an experience so that you could identify what it is that's holding you. And
Yeah.
only when you identify it, then you can repair it. It's stripping away every attachment, every ego hold, anything that holds you to being less. And once we
Yeah.
do that, look at what happens. Every step becomes more and more. In the word that you began with this conversation, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. So, yes, because the moment I say that there is perfection and there is imperfection, I'm creating a duality, right?
Yes,
But the imperfection, that's how I'm seeing it, is actually the part of the perfect process.
it's
So
everything. Yes.
it's all one.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, the infallible way is synonymous to God, the creator, the expression of all that is. Okay? So, infallible is perfection, right? In many
Yeah,
ways. I
can never
mean,
fall.
it's like beyond. And that's what occurs when we're dealing with a situation that we've created. Isn't it wonderful that we can identify? Look at what we have the power to create. So
Yeah,
if there's something outside of us that's affecting us, it's not outside of us at all. We're creating it so that we could identify what's inside of us. Then we can transform it. If we
yeah,
don't know about it, or if it's something that we're not even able to access, what good is it?
yeah,
Right?
yeah. And something I've noticed is that when I observe natural world, if I see trees and lakes and mountains, we never see imperfection in that. It
That's
always
correct.
looks perfect.
Right.
And it's not like it's always symmetrical or in a particular pattern or anything. It's just whichever way it is, it looks perfect. But we don't do that with ourselves, right?
Right.
We try to
That's
put
because,
ourselves into
you know
something.
why? Why do you think that is, Siley?
I think that's the learned patterns of the mind.
Yep. Exactly right. Exactly right. And we look at ourselves and we become the victims. And why do we become the victims? So that we could identify? I mean, it's the mind.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
the
what
mind.
we've learned right from the beginning. We've learned to be victims. I mean, you and I had that conversation last week, which was pretty awesome. And it was all about how, as parents, what is
Hmm.
the best way that we can identify and help the child instead of
Yeah,
becoming the victim, which is often the case? We teach kids to be victims. We
yeah,
do.
yeah. I mean, going forward with this discussion of perfection, if I'm feeling that certain things have to be certain way, I start imposing that on my child that he has to finish his homework in this time or eat only this much or not that much. And then I start realizing where are all these rules coming from? They're my own projection. And then I'm limiting my child with that projection. And
Exactly.
just because I don't know any better, I think that's the right way to do it. But
But you know what? The
yeah,
beautiful thing is what I watch is you transform it quite quickly.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the work I love to do. That's
Yeah.
the only work I do.
I know, and that's the beauty. And your son gets it too. I mean, he gets it so quickly. He gets it even before we do.
Yeah, he actually
From my
helps me
perspective,
transform.
I just, you know what? What?
He actually helps me in my transformation.
No doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, from that perspective, I think that perfection is nothing other than the infallible way. It's just a label. So if it's
Yeah.
perfect and it's imperfect, if it's infallible, is it also fallible? They're dualities. And as long as we're holding on to dualities, we're never
Mm.
going to rise to limitlessness, which is no separation. So
Mm.
every time there's a separateness that we're able to identify, let's do it. Identify it and say, wait a minute, I created this. I created this separation.
And then, I do identify patterns and I realize, oh, this is my creation. I'm just, used to this kind of rule that I have to have this. But the hard part is when you have to transform that energy, because you get used to, no, it has to be this way, it has to be this way, or
Right,
whatever that pattern is. But you have to walk through it by realizing that it's your creation and transform
right,
it and go beyond that
right.
rule pattern. That's the
And
key, I
yeah,
feel.
and what happens, Siley, is then you get to a place where you can feel this beautiful love. And the love
Mm,
is in you. And then what happens when the love is in you? Where do you think it goes?
goes everywhere.
Yeah. And it's very clear. One by one, we make a difference because you hear that a lot. Well, you mean I can make a difference? No, I can't make a difference. I can't change. Well, yes, we do. Every
Yeah,
step we take another step because we make a difference if we're expressing love, and then you're expressing love, and then your son is expressing love, and on and on and on. The shift in consciousness collectively occurs.
yeah. And I also feel that embracing that whatever stage you are in, it is the perfect stage of your evolution at that moment of
Exactly.
time, is also requires a little bit of courage and faith in yourself that it's okay wherever you are, accept yourself in that position.
Yes.
Um, because that's nothing but perfection, isn't it? Because what else
Yeah.
is there?
Yeah. And when you just said to have faith in yourself, that's correct. It's, and then you're going to get to the level where you say faith. What is that? That's still separation.
Is
Why
it?
do I have faith? I already am. But you see, we have to go through the process. And
Right.
I can't say that it's a journey because that's something that we attain.
Mm.
What it is taking the steps so that we strip away those those
Yes.
bondages,
Yeah.
anything that holds us. Because that's the key right there. I mean, if it's something that we're holding on to in our mind, that's going to keep us from the grandness, the limitlessness, the
Yeah.
boundlessness that we are.
Yeah. I'm just going to share an example with my son where I was feeling a bit anxious, where he was not finishing his homework on time or he was not doing his all his daily chores on time, and I was getting very anxious because me having this perfection mindset that it must be done in this time. And then I just had a heart to heart chat with him as you suggested. And he just said one thing to me. He said, "Just have faith in me, mom." And that's all I had to do. I mean, I can still, he's doing things his own way, but it is his way. And I have got to realize that there is no need for me to create those patterns anymore. He will go on his way and do whatever needs to be done. If he has to experience something, he will do that. And that's fine as well.
And then the beautiful thing is the two of you can interact
Yeah.
and discuss what it is that's holding him in any way. I don't believe that anything is holding him, by the way.
No, it doesn't. And it amazes me because he is not like me. Like I would finish everything on time, but he doesn't. But still, he's able to manage everything. He goes to school, his homework is left at home, but he still manages to finish it again at school and submit it. So it just amazes me how he comes up with his own solutions. But
Yes.
that's a possibility, isn't it?
Well, you know what? And he realizes his own power. And he was trying to remind you.
Yeah,
And then he'll always do that. He'll remind you by saying, just have faith in me. And then the two of you have dialogue. And I think that that is probably the most vital thing. The fact that the two of you can interact and express, he's realizing that part of him that is here and not out there.
yeah. I
The
got to
out
do the same.
there is the manifestation of what's here.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
how it typically occurs.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
that's
children, because children don't have that much of conditioning, they do have that faith. However, we have lost it in our conditioning of mind patterns, but it's time to now transform that.
yes. And that's the key right there. I mean, the power is here, it's in us to transform everything. But see, people get so tied into what's going on and trying to force things from the outside in that they don't realize that it's right here. As soon as you fix it here, it's not here any longer.
Yeah,
And
there
if there
isn't
is
it.
an experience that someone's having, you're able to unconditionally love that person to walk through the experience. That's
Yeah,
critical.
yeah, it's critical. Everybody needs their experiences. Otherwise,
Yes,
we can't work on ourselves.
exactly. I mean, it's like saying, okay, you can't have that experience anymore. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Well, yeah. And then what are you doing? You're
Yeah,
causing them, you're interfering with their steps. The grandest thing you can never do is communicate and say to the beautiful individual that's asking you, just let's walk through the experience. I'll walk with you. I
yeah,
said
just
to a
be there.
gentleman that was going through incredible experience, and I said, this is your experience, but I will be so proud to walk with you.
Wow, wow, that's not heard of. Most individuals will try to, in the name of helping, try to make them avoid that situation or somehow diminish the effect. But it's important to walk through. I think we'll do one session on that, how to walk through an
Okay,
experience.
that'll be
It'll be,
beautiful.
yeah,
Every
that will be.
session we do is beautiful, isn't it?
It's perfection.
Perfection, always.
Always. Thank you so much, Jewel. It was perfect. Have a lovely day.
You too, my love. Talk
Until next
soon,
time.
honey.
Bye. Bye.